a popular and fun-loving college student.
Mindy was a very bubbly person. She's always seemed to be happy. She had a light in her eyes, and she accepted everyone.
Is found savagely murdered in her apartment.
There was a belt wrapped around her neck and appeared to be a broken-off knife still stuck in her throat.
Police need to determine, was this a sinister obsession?
Mindy, I know what happened to you. God picked the beautiful flower.
He had called and left numerous messages on her cell phone.
Just really a strange type of relationship.
A crucial piece of evidence.
There was some material under the fingernails of her left hand.
I know you got a mark on your hand. How did you get that?
Shines a light on a dangerous predator no one saw coming.
I was very shocked. I think everybody was.
He was not the man we thought he was.
I don't think I would ever expect that outcome at all.
Hey Mindy, it's Danny. Anyway, you can just give me a call back. Okay, bye. Hey Mindy, she's calling. Hey, Danny's trying to get over to you. Bye. Where are you? Okay, bye.
I remember trying to call Mindy a few times and she wasn't answering. So me and my friend Danielle drove and parked in front of her apartment across the street. I ran inside. I knocked on the door and there was no answer, and it wasn't locked. And so I opened the door and I stepped in, and about 2 steps in, I saw something on the ground right in front of my feet. It was Mindy. And then I noticed something around her neck.
Horrified, Mindy's friend rushes outside to call 911.
About 10 minutes before 9 o'clock at night, dispatch called me at my house and said that they've got a hysterical caller on the phone. I got the address and it was 1 block from my house. When I arrived, both Danielle and Tony were very distraught, very upset.
The apartment was located on the 2nd floor of the building. As I entered, I could smell a very strong odor like an ammonia disinfectant. The body of the victim was laying across the entry hallway.
And it appeared her throat had been half cut open.
Detectives begin their investigation and identify the victim as 22-year-old college senior Mindy Morgenstern.
I knew Mindy. She was a student at the college. I'd seen her at a lot of their events. And to see that it was her, I was really surprised and quite shocked.
There was a belt wrapped around her neck and appeared to be a broken-off knife still stuck in her throat.
It appeared that the belt was applied to the neck prior to the neck being cut.
Investigators find an empty bottle of disinfectant beside the body.
Somebody had poured the disinfectant over her body, possibly trying to destroy any type of evidence.
killer tried to cover their tracks, but investigators find something they missed.
There was some material under the fingernails of her left hand where possibly Mindy had scratched her assailant.
We felt that this was going to be a DNA forensic type case based on the materials that were found on Mindy's fingernails.
And to preserve that, the hands are placed in bags for autopsy. She had a purse around her right arm. Her wallet was laying just outside of the purse.
It didn't appear that they'd been gone through or anything removed from them. There was clean laundry around the body and a laundry basket. It almost appeared as if she was attacked as she was going in the door with that laundry. It did not look like the apartment had been ransacked or gone through, so it didn't appear that theft was a motive in this killing.
There was no sign of any forced entry into the apartment.
It told us that the person was either in her apartment or followed her in.
Her cell phone was located, and the first missed call on that phone was at 12:47 p.m. on September 13th. That gave us some indication as to what time the attack may have occurred.
By 10 p.m., more than 9 hours after the first missed call, detectives have little to go on as they work into the night at the crime scene.
When we first left the scene the following morning, we had no clear indication of who may have done this.
Police reach Mindy's sister to inform her of the murder, and she delivers the tragic news to her parents.
Front doorbell rang. And I said, "Who's there?" And Rebecca, our daughter, she said, "It's me, Dad. We've got some bad news."
And then Rebecca said to me that, "Mom, Mindy is dead." It was just like somebody taking a knife and just sticking it right into your heart. I just wanted to try to just say, no, this isn't real. This didn't happen. I didn't want it to be true. She had such a loving, loving heart, and I loved her very much.
Born in Bogota, Colombia on April 29, 1984, Mindy was adopted as a baby by Valley City farmers Larry and Eunice Morgenstern.
The first time I saw Mindy, she had the biggest, darkest, most beautiful eyes that I had ever seen.
It was pretty very amazing to see this little character in the basket that she brought home to be part of our family.
Mindy was the youngest of 4 Morgenstern children, 3 of them adopted by Larry and Eunice.
Mindy was very much a tomboy. And as she grew up, she got so beautiful. She didn't really realize that she would be looked upon as somebody that would turn boys' heads.
After high school, Mindy moved to Valley City and dove headlong into college life.
She just seemed to enjoy all the friends that she had there.
Mindy was a very friendly, outgoing, bubbly person. She just always seemed to be happy.
She had a light in her eyes, and she accepted everyone.
Mindy's future was looking bright until the stunning attack that cut her down in her prime.
It was very difficult to see Mindy's body in the condition that it was in when we found her. I want to find out who did this, because she was loved by a lot of people in our community.
Back at the crime scene, Mindy's two friends tell detectives they weren't the only ones to see Mindy's body.
When Tony found Mindy at the scene, she screamed, which alerted a man in a neighboring apartment to come out to see what was wrong.
He was there when I first entered the apartment complex, and they showed me where Mindy was located.
He told investigators that he checked for a pulse using the back of his hand to not leave any fingerprints on the victim.
It was a little odd because people don't describe things like that, like using the back of their hand so they don't leave fingerprints and things like that.
If he was there to help, I couldn't understand why he'd be worried about something like that.
Police identify the man as Robert Linz and soon notice a telling detail about him.
He had scratches on his hands that would correspond to someone trying to get your hands off of them when they were being attacked.
Had Mindy scratched Robert as she fought for her life?
Robert Linz, having those scratches, being in the same building, he certainly needed to be looked at.
A lot of times, a person at the crime scene is a person that committed the crime. And if any evidence of them is found, they have an excuse for saying why it was there.
Coming up, detectives uncover a world of secrets.
She reminded me so much of my wife in her younger days. It's like, I don't want you talking to her this time of year.
It turned out upon checking his background that he had a felony record.
And as they zero in on a killer,
I was absolutely certain we had the right guy.
a stunning setback turns the case on its head.
I just thought, oh, it's all over with now. They're going to let him go.
This case was a shock to everybody.
When we found out who the person was, it was just, wow.
Police investigating the murder of 22-year-old college student Mindy Morgenstern have just identified their first suspect, her neighbor, Robert Linz.
When officers met Robert Linz, they noticed some scratches on his hands.
And he also used the back of his hand to see if she was deceased or not. His concern was he didn't want to leave any fingerprints or DNA in the apartment because he had nothing to do with the incident.
Suspicions aroused. Police bring Robert Linz into the station for an interview.
Good news before. I knew her in passing, see her every day.
All he knew about her is that she was a pretty girl and that she lived in the apartment building.
When investigators dig into Robert's history, they find something troubling.
It turned out upon checking his background that he had a felony record.
I apologize. He was stolen car, had a gun. My original sentence was 2 years and 8 months.
Robert Linz was in the criminal system out in California. He's street smart, and he knew not to leave fingerprints at a crime scene.
Detectives ask Robert how he got the scratches on his hands.
All your hands are really cut out and stuff. Is that normal from work? Yeah, this is an everyday thing. Having steel and stuff. Yeah, all day long steel. I get cut pretty bad. Constantly.
He claimed he worked at a place where they built steel buildings and stuff like that, and he got the bruises on his hands from his job.
Police cut to the chase and ask Robert where he was on the day Mindy was murdered.
No, it wasn't anything out of the ordinary. Regular day work. What time did you start? I'm there like 5 minutes to 7.
Robert Linz told investigators that he had been at work that day from 7 in the morning, and he didn't arrive home to his apartment until about 5:30.
We talked to his employer. He did work all day. He did work with steel, so it's very easy for him to cut his hands. So there was really nothing to put him at that apartment at the time the crime occurred.
Still, police aren't ready to rule out Robert just yet.
We asked him to provide DNA sample, which he agreed to.
While they await DNA test results, police canvass Mindy's neighbors.
We were looking for anybody that might have seen something, heard something, so we can get a better timeline as far as when this might have happened.
While going door to door, investigators are pleased to see a familiar face.
As I was collecting statements outside, I saw Mo Gibbs.
He had been living in the apartment building with his wife and stepdaughter.
Mo works at the Barnes County Jail, and due to the fact that he was a correctional officer, I would run into him quite often while he was working. And I also knew Mo because we played on the co-ed softball tournament together.
A guy in his position probably would be an excellent witness if he had seen or heard anything.
Mo Gibbs said that he knew Mindy as a person that lived in the building. He had seen her come and go.
The investigator asked Mo if he noticed anything unusual that afternoon.
Mo had said that he went with his wife and stepdaughter for lunch, then came back to the apartment at about 12:45 and started packing and loading boxes as he and his wife were going to be moving out of the apartment.
He mentioned that when he went into the apartment complex, he could smell a strong, distinct odor of a disinfectant.
Other than that, he claimed that he didn't hear or see anything.
So we were working with a timeline between the first missed call at 12:47 p.m. and the disinfectant being smelled shortly after 1 o'clock p.m.
So we figured she probably was deceased prior to 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
To rule them out, police collect DNA samples from Mo and the other building residents.
All the DNA samples taken during our interviews were sent to the state crime lab.
In search of new leads, detectives turn to Mindy's loved ones.
I just didn't think there was anybody that would want to do anything like that to her.
Investigators push Mindy's parents to think hard about anyone who might have had a problem with her.
Mindy's mother mentioned that Tony had had this boyfriend that wasn't such a nice person. His name was James.
I was dating James Robinson at the time, and he was doing some bad things, and I was taking the brunt of it, and Mindy didn't really care for him because she had known that there was times that it got pretty scary.
Mindy did bring him up at one time, something about him being on drugs or something.
Mindy was trying to get Tony to quit seeing James, and that may give him some reason to hold a grudge against Mindy.
This James Robinson didn't look like he wanted his girlfriend, Tony, to be friends with Mindy.
She did, obviously like a friend does, get out. You need to leave. He's not a good guy. This isn't a good relationship.
In trying to help her friend, had Mindy made a deadly enemy.
Seemed like the attack was personal in nature. It made me think that maybe this guy had something to do with her death.
Investigators are hunting for the killer of popular college student Mindy Morgenstern. They now suspect James Robinson, who may have held a grudge against Mindy for trying to turn his girlfriend Tony against him.
So James was called in to do an interview to see what we could glean from him.
Did you know Mindy pretty well? I knew her from going to visit Tony at work, and she'd be there or whatever, and we'd get together every once in a while, go out and eat her.
Police ask James if he has a criminal record.
James said that he had, in the past, had trouble with illegal drugs. He had been charged, but he was trying to stay out of that lifestyle.
As James talks, detectives notice suspicious cuts on his hands.
Shoot your hand. So you got a...
Yeah, it went right through a window. Blood like something fierce.
Looks pretty fresh.
Police press James on his whereabouts at the time of the murder.
What were you doing during the day? I know I have 4 hours of community service left to do.
James told investigators that he went to do community service from these previous charges. He then went to a friend's house and went back home sometime 5 o'clock or later. We checked, and it was verified that he had been at those locations that day.
Even though James's alibi checks out, investigators collect a DNA sample in order to officially rule him out. As they review evidence from the crime scene, autopsy results arrive.
The autopsy of Mindy's body indicated that she had died from asphyxiation and due to the cuts to her neck. There was no indication that Mindy had been sexually assaulted.
Still awaiting results on DNA collected from Mindy's fingernails, detectives turn to her coworkers for new leads.
Mindy had been working at a restaurant in Valley City as a waitstaff. It was important to interview Mindy's coworkers and see if they knew of anyone unusual in the restaurant that stood out to them. There was a man that lived in a motorhome across the street from the restaurant.
Mindy told coworkers that he made her feel really uneasy, and he was always in there bothering them. So, hearing that information, we decided to interview him.
What's your full name? Ralph Albert Walter. So how long have you been in Valley City?
Well, I don't know. You could say I'm a drifter, but,
Mr. Walters didn't have any ties to the area, just kind of an odd character.
You remember anything particular you did on Wednesday?
Oh, that was the day that could change the oil in the motorhome.
He really didn't have a good alibi for when Mindy was murdered.
Just as with previous suspects, detectives spot a potentially damning clue.
I know you got a mark on your hand. How did you get that?
When I put that oil filter on.
Have you had any type of altercation or disagreements in any of the restaurants with anybody?
I can't think of any.
He claimed he never bothered anybody in the restaurant where Mindy worked. Claimed he didn't know who she was.
But Mindy's coworkers tell a different story.
They all said that he was in there quite often.
Mr. Walters would have seen her coming and going at least. Would that give him a reason to follow her? We really didn't know at that point.
Red flags were waving, of course, but I was real careful not to jump to any conclusions too early on in the investigation.
Detectives collect Ralph's DNA and let him go, but they're not ready to clear him just yet.
We keep him on the list. We're hoping DNA samples, if he was involved, would eventually tie him into it.
2 days after the murder, the wait for answers starts to take a toll on Mindy's family.
That was the hard part, not knowing what was going on and what happened and why.
It was like living someplace in another world, and you just wanted answers.
3 days into the investigation, detectives catch a break when they find disturbing voicemails left on Mindy's phone after she was dead.
You know my number, sweetie. I miss you. I love you. You're my inspiration. Please help me. Please help me, baby. I can't continue without you. Please help me. Some way, help me.
Detectives search the number and discover that it belongs to a man named Rodney Kuznia.
After Mindy had passed away, he had called and left numerous messages on her cell phone.
Investigators rush to find out who Rodney Kuznia is and why he called Mindy after her murder.
Mindy's friends had told us about a previous boyfriend by the name of Kyle Kuznia. They had been very serious and they had broken up the prior year. Mindy's phone indicated a lot of calls between she and Kyle's father, Rodney.
We thought this was really odd because why would an ex-boyfriend's father be so interested in Mindy?
There was some indication from Mindy's friends that Mindy had told Rodney to quit calling her.
It's been 3 days since 22-year-old Mindy Morgenstern was found brutally murdered in her apartment. Police have a new suspect, an ex-boyfriend's father who left suspicious voicemails for Mindy after her death.
Mindy, this is Rod. I know what happened to you. There's no fear in your voice. Can't take it. I love you, kid. God makes a beautiful flower. I'm sorry it happened that way. It happened to you.
It just was really odd why Mindy's ex-boyfriend's father was leaving these messages, why he was so infatuated with her, and obviously he had feelings for her.
Eager to learn more about Mindy's communication with Rodney, detectives start by questioning his son, Kyle.
Kyle was Mindy's ex-boyfriend, and Mindy, I think, still had feelings for Kyle.
It was found that Kyle had broken off his relationship with her a year before and was planning to get married to someone else, and had really had very little contact with Mindy since that time that they had broken up.
I feel a little bad that maybe I could have handled it a little different. Have you had any other contact with her? No, that was the last time I ever talked to her. I know she would kind of get information kind of through my dad. Him and her would continue to talk.
After verifying that Kyle was working out of town on the day of the murder, detectives turn their questions to his father's relationship with Mindy.
It's like, I don't want you talking to her. 10, 20 years down the road, you guys are still going to be talking, and it's kind of weird. It is kind of weird. Yeah.
It was actually ruining his relationship with his father because Rodney was so involved with Mindy still.
I even asked my dad because I would appreciate it if you guys would stop talking.
Rod Kuznia had an almost unhealthy amount of contact with Mindy, and then that continued even after Kyle and Mindy broke up.
The calls were very frequent, like multiple times daily, and it really made us wonder, did Mindy want him to quit calling her? Did that make him angry?
Detectives bring Rodney Kuznia in for an interview.
He was at least in his 50s, and we weren't sure what it was that he wanted out of Mindy.
You and Mindy became, you call it, friends. She dated your son.
Correct.
I don't understand the relationship.
Well, you'd have to know Mindy. She was quite the bubbly character. She reminded me so much of my wife in her younger days.
Detectives press Rodney about the messages he left after hearing of Mindy's death.
I didn't call after I heard the fact and left a message. I know it's really stupid to do that, but I just wanted her to pick up and have. What did you tell her? Oh my God, take the perfect flower.
It was just really a strange type of relationship between a man that was her boyfriend's father and her.
Detectives press Rodney on his whereabouts at the time of the murder.
Rod Kuznia indicated that He was working on his farm with his two sons from 7 in the morning till early in the evening.
We checked and verified that, yes, he had been at work that day.
Detectives collect DNA from Rodney, but with nothing concrete against him, they must let him go.
We still thought that it was such an odd relationship that we certainly wouldn't close the book on looking at Rodney any further.
The pressure to find Mindy's killer only increases as the community becomes gripped by fear.
It was super scary because you didn't know who it was. It could have been anybody. You were scared to go out by yourself. You were scared to do anything. It wasn't safe Little Valley City anymore.
6 days after the murder, Mindy's funeral draws hundreds of mourners.
We had the funeral at the high school gym because we didn't think that everybody could fit into the church. Well, there was over 500 people at the funeral. The police told us they would have some undercover agents watching because they didn't know for sure if this person was, after her or after us. And you get kind of paranoid of anything like that happening until they finally catch the right person.
The day after Mindy's funeral, investigators receive surprising news from the crime lab.
The state crime lab called and said that we have a positive match of the DNA.
The DNA extracted from under the fingernails of Mindy matched an unsolved brutal sexual assault in Fargo 2 years previously.
And when we found out who the person was, it was just kind of silence. Then there was a shock.
One week after the murder of 22-year-old Mindy Morgenstern, detectives received DNA test results that turn the case on its head.
The DNA from every one of the suspects, Koznia, Walters, Lind, and the others, all came back as not a match to the DNA found under Mindy's fingernails.
I asked, "Who is it?" They told me it was Mo Gibbs.
When they got the match, it was just, wow.
The DNA match of Mo Gibbs was really unexpected for us.
I knew him personally. He was a correctional officer, and it really caught me off guard that somebody in the law enforcement community would have done something like this.
When detectives look deep into Mo's background, they discover a hidden past.
Mo Gibbs was not the man we thought he was. When we started digging into his background, we had found out that he'd actually changed his name. We found out that he was involved in a drive-by shooting, and he had served 5 years in prison.
Also, his DNA matched this reported rape in Fargo from 2 years previously.
Given Mo's violent criminal past, detectives come up with a strategy to lure him into the station.
We had called Mo and asked him if he would be willing to come in, just to eliminate him as a suspect.
We're playing on his friendship with law enforcement. The idea was to get him in, lock him into a story, and then immediately give him the polygraph.
Mo Gibbs lived in the apartment building that Mindy lived in, and he said that he had seen her around, but he really didn't know her at all. Mo said that he had worked at the jail the previous night, had gotten home about 7 in the morning, and then he started packing and loading boxes out of the apartment.
Anything unusual that you noticed in the apartment building?
Nope. I didn't notice anything out of the ordinary the whole day. I was back and forth.
Scratches were observed on Mo's hands, and Mo stated that he got those scratches from moving boxes. The polygraph operator asked him if he'd ever been in Mindy's room or in her apartment.
I went to her place one time, and that was probably either a week and a half or 2 weeks ago.
He stated that she was trying to carry a laundry basket and some other things all at the same time, and he assisted her in carrying that laundry to her apartment.
I'm thinking that he wanted to have an excuse for having evidence in that apartment.
With Mo's story in place, the polygraph can begin.
Regarding Mindy's death, do you intend to truthfully answer those questions?
Yes.
Did you injure Mindy and cause her death?
No.
At the conclusion of the polygraph examination, the examiner felt that there was some indication of deception.
There's a little bit of indication there that something is bothering you about this, and I guess I just want to try and get it resolved.
I mean, I don't know nothing about it. I mean, as far as anything else, I wasn't there, so it's not bothering me that I know. I mean, because I know I wasn't there.
Okay. What do you know about DNA?
Nothing.
Nothing? How would you feel if I told you that your DNA matches DNA that we found on Mindy's body?
I'd be like, that wasn't true, so I know I wasn't there, so.
At that point, we didn't think that he was really going to ever admit to anything, at least that day.
We're in a bind here. Your DNA is matching what we found on under her fingernails.
I don't know how my DNA was under her fingernail.
When we get DNA back, though, and it says, this is the person that matches this person out of so many million, we can't argue with that, Mo. Plus, I'm going to let you in on something else here. The DNA that they brought up, it also matches the DNA that was found on a girl that was sexually assaulted 2 years ago in Fargo.
Okay.
He was arrested immediately after that interview and charged with murder.
Could you stand up, please, and put your hand behind your back? We have an arrest warrant for the murder of Mindy Morgenstern.
News of Mo's arrest opens a floodgate of shocking accusations.
A number of female inmates in the jail where Mo Gibbs worked came forward and said he's been doing sexual stuff to us in the jail for weeks or months.
Mo is charged with 6 felonies for the sexual assaults and 1 count of first-degree murder.
It was a very, very much a shock when they revealed who was arrested.
I was very surprised and very shocked due to the fact I knew him personally, but it was a great feeling to get the person who had done this horrific crime.
We went to trial in Minot, North Dakota, provided evidence to the jury there about the DNA under her fingernails, the scratches on his hand.
Despite the evidence against him, Mo's lawyers mount a strong defense.
Their argument was the DNA found in Mindy's fingernails was probably touch DNA that she got from doorknobs that Mo Gibbs had been touching.
I went into the jury deliberations believing strongly that we'd proved our case beyond a reasonable doubt.
On July 12, 2007, the jury returns to the courtroom with news that takes everyone by surprise.
The jury deliberated for a fair period of time and came back as a hung jury and could not reach a decision.
We were so sure he was gonna go down, but they just got him off. You kind of went home and you were thinking, what are we gonna do now?
Corrections Officer Mo Gibbs has just been tried for the murder of 22-year-old Mindy Morgenstern. But when the verdict comes back, a hung jury, Mindy's loved ones are left fearing the worst.
I was very shocked. I think everybody was. I don't think I would ever expect that outcome at all.
When we heard it was a hung jury, I just thought, oh, it's all over with now. They're going to let him go.
Was it possible that Mo had not killed Mindy after all? Or was a murderer about to go free?
When a hung jury like that happens, it's extremely disappointing and hard to understand for people because it's just a temporary setback.
I was absolutely certain we had the right guy.
In the Minot trial, the defense, the one thing they really hung their hat on was that trying to say it was just touch DNA.
We felt it was obvious that to get DNA under your fingernails, it wasn't from touching any kind of doorknob.
So we wanted to totally rule that out, and we're able to find another expert to help us do that.
On October 22nd, 2007, more than a year after Mindy's murder, Mo Gibbs goes on trial for the second time.
The expert described this as a vigorous assault. The amount of DNA was not from touching a doorknob or a laundry basket.
The prosecution lays out further evidence, carefully building the case against Mo.
Mo Gibbs' phone was seized after his arrest. There were never times when he went for an hour or more that he was not texting or doing something with his phone.
He got off at 7 in the morning from his shift, and he was continually either emailing or texting people until he had to go pick up his fiancée to go to lunch. He dropped her back off around 12:30 or 1 o'clock, and that's when we believe he came back to the apartment building. Mindy's last missed call was at 12:47 that day, and for the next 2 hours, Mo Gibbs was doing something else other than sending texts or sending emails.
With DNA and other evidence placing Mo at the scene, the prosecution lays out their theory of the murder.
I believe that Mindy was carrying clothes into her apartment, and Mo Gibbs was in the hallway and got her in there and pushed her on the floor and attempted to rape her.
I think Mindy fought back, and things went drastically wrong.
I think what happened was he tried strangling her with a belt. It wasn't going as he wanted it to. She wasn't dying fast enough. So he got a knife and he stabbed her. And then when he got done, he finds a cleaning solution, dumps it on her body, and then he gets the heck out of there.
Then he starts back with the texting and emailing and went on with his life.
As Mo's second murder trial concludes, prosecutors have one final card to play.
There was a cellmate of Mo Gibbs while he was awaiting trial that had told investigators that Mo had admitted to killing Mindy.
Gibbs had told him that he'd done it, and he'd do it again if he had the opportunity.
As the jury deliberates for a second time, Mindy's loved ones nervously await the outcome.
And I was wondering, what's going on? I wanted to know things. I wanted to hear what was coming out of their mouths.
On November 16th, 2007, after deliberating for over 27 hours, the jury returns with the verdict.
We, the jury, do find the defendant, Mo M. Gibbs, guilty of the crime of murder.
For killing Mindy Morgenstern, Mo Gibbs is sentenced to life without parole.
He got a 12-year sentence on the unsolved rape and 15 years on the jail sexual assaults that had happened.
It was a relief that they finally caught the person and he wasn't going to be out there to do it to somebody else again.
The fact that Mo Gibbs is going to be in prison, it was finally over with. We could finally go on and just try to get through life the rest of the time that we had.
Mo got what he deserved. Because of Mindy's actions and her strength, we were able to get the DNA that we needed. And that DNA helped us solve this case.
Though justice is served, nothing can dull the pain of Mindy's loss.
Oh, I miss Mindy so much every day.
You never get over it, but you go on and you pray for that time when you can see her again up there in the heavens. That's where I know where she's at.
I like to remember her smile. I have a picture of her on my refrigerator, and the light just radiates from her face. And she's so happy. And that's the way I like to remember her.